What's up, guys? Welcome back. We are jumping into another Superflex draft here on Underdog. This one is the Frenchie. So the way this one works is it's $10 entry, double entry. There's 5,600 entrants, 50K prize pool. The advancement structure is super cool. So 4 out of this 12 pod will make it out. Then it's 1 out of 2. You just got to be one person in week 15, one person in week 16, and there's a 468 person final with 10K to first in week 17. So pretty freaking cool tournament. $10 double entry, so we got to make it count. We're drafting from the 8th spot, so candidly not the best spot. But the reason I don't like 8 is you're no man's land. You get the first decision about like a Chase over a Hurts or a Williams. And then even if you draft a Hurts or Williams, you're typically looking at some diluted QB value. So even trying to get a QB double stack there can be tricky. But what we may look to do is get like a Herbert or a Williams and then get a Purdy on round 2. Happy to kind of start that way potentially. So if you haven't drafted on Underdog, these rooms tend to be super quarterback heavy. And we may see that play out here, but very quarterback hungry rooms. A little different than some of the other sites. All right, so Allen at 1, Gibbs at 2, and then we'll see probably, all right, I'm going to say Bijan or Jackson come up here next. And we're just going to look to kind of take advantage of the board, but we definitely are going to prioritize quarterbacks because it's real easy to get locked out pretty quick of some premium options. The interesting thing about the way that the roster works on this one is that it is 2 wide receiver only, and you know, you're super flexing your flex plus your 2 RB, so you can go a little RB heavier than in a 3 wide receiver format like the traditional ones on Underdog, the traditional draft format. So, all right, Jackson Daniels, Burrow. If this player does not take May, I was going to say we are taking May, but we didn't get May here. So we do have an option for Jamar Chase. I have not enjoyed starting my Superflex draft with a wide receiver. I just don't think it plays out correctly. So I think for this one, you know what? We're going to pull up Justin Herbert for this position. I actually have Caleb Williams above Justin Herbert, but I have so much Caleb Williams in both this format and in a regular draft that want to diversify a little bit. And there's a case where Herbert finishes as a top 5 quarterback this year for sure. So Hurts is on the board, and this is what I was talking about being a quarterback hungry room. So depending on what happens here at the back end of the board, I'll happily take another quarterback in a Williams, a Prescott, Purdy. I have Purdy ahead of Mahomes and Dart. I think Purdy is just quietly one of the better quarterback values at his ADP. And I have him ranked higher, so I would maybe look at taking him. Lawrence is off the board. There is Christian McCaffrey and Jonathan Taylor, and we could get a premium. So the Lawrence player 12 was listening. So there you go. But we may get a Williams or a Prescott, and then if we don't, we'll have to decide whether we want like a Taylor or a Mahomes. And candidly, after taking Justin Herbert, deciding between Taylor and Mahomes is a pretty good place to be. Chase player gets Williams. And see, that's what I was kind of worried about taking Chase up here. You get into this spot where even if you go double QB here and catch up at 1732, then you have no running backs to do 3. And you only start 2 wide receivers. And there's such good wide receiver value in rounds 5, 6, 7 that it's just kind of hard not to. So we do have that decision here. I think I am going to opt for the running back here. And then there's some quarterbacks that we'll prioritize through the late 3rd and early 4th and kind of go from there. Dart and Mahomes are kind of even to me. There's reasons for upside for both. There's reasons to be worried about both of those offenses. But I guess I'm happy to get Taylor with Herbert. The May player opts for Smith and Jigba. So they are of the same mind. The Burrow player gets Dart. So we have 12 quarterbacks off the board at this point. Daniels player takes St. Brown. Jackson player takes Cook. Robinson player takes Mahomes. I'm kind of glad to see some positional value go off the board here in the middle of the second. Bo Nix goes to the Gibbs drafter. Josh Allen grabs Genty. Interesting to see if he takes one to Stafford or what he does here. The Gibbs player may pick up Goff. If we look at where the quarterbacks are at now, we're in that range, right? Goff, Murray, Stafford. It looks like the Allen player grabs Goff. Okay, Gibbs player grabs Stafford. Mahomes player grabs Murray. So this is kind of what happens here is that everybody who didn't grab a second quarterback will look to fill out here. We're kind of at the end of that run, which is why wisely I think the Hurts and Lawrence player understood what would happen here. The Puka and McCaffrey player might be in trouble here from a quarterback value. And I'm still okay with Baker Mayfield or Tyler Shug for sure. I actually am very high in Shug this year. I've said this in a lot of my drafts. I would love to get him here, so I will definitely take him above Mayfield. All right, the May player may take Shug though. If he does, we are in Hurtsville. Hopefully, they'll be enticed by some of this positional value. They are. I am happy as can be. Now, you might say, hey, you'll get Shug here potentially. The problem is that the tier break after him is Darnold, Willis, Stroud, and Ward and Jones, and I'm okay with any of those guys as potentially my QB3. Absolutely not as my QB2. And I think Shard's in for a big year. Not so big that I want to draft him above like this range of guys, but big enough that happy to have him on the team. See, yeah, the Puka and McCaffrey player, as good as this start as this is with wide receiver and running back, is in a struggle here now at the quarterback position when you're starting your QB1 in a super flex format as Malik Willis, even if Malik Willis does have upside. Now, the Lawrence Purdy player just gets to draft running back or wide receiver, whatever they'd like in here. They still have Hampton, still great value on the board. Achan, Hampton, Walker, Brown. So as it comes back to us, if one of those running backs falls, it's going to be very hard to pull a trigger on like a Sam Darnold or a CJ Stroud or a Cam Ward. Um, I just can't envision that being the right click there. So I think I probably will pick up one of these three guys. Chase Brown and Amari Hampton, I'm a little higher on than Walker. We're going to now get actually our pick, which is really nice to have. Hampton goes. So I'm going to take Chase Brown here. I do not have a ton of Walker, admittedly. I don't want to say I'm fading him, but I just liked the other running backs in the tier that he goes. I like Hampton better. I like Brown better. Um, I think I like Walker over A-Chan, but it's pretty close. It's just if you've ever like yes, you could say he had an amazing Super Bowl and he got the bag at um, Kansas City, but if you've ever had Kenneth Walker on your fantasy football team, then you know why I'm not high on him. I think if you haven't had him, you might be like, "Whoa, why wouldn't you take him?" And all I'd say is take him, and then let me know how you feel about that. It just doesn't really seem to be a blue chip back. Never really has felt like that when you've had him on the team. And Hampton's ceiling's top five this year. I think Brown's ceiling's like top five, maybe more realistically 6 or 7. But if Burrow can stay healthy, Brown's in for a monster season. So just kind of taking that bent to it. The Allen Genty golf player gets Jeremiah Love and Trey McBride on the 4-5 turn. Pretty nice. The Gibbs player did opt to click Darnold in, which that's probably a smart move. There is a tier break here again after Darnold. Bryce Young, Fernando Mendoza, Aaron Rodgers, Geno Smith, all these guys are a cut below, not a cut above. I think of those guys, I probably like Aaron Rodgers for just the highest likelihood to have meaningful weeks for your fantasy football team, but I don't know that, again, with the positional value on the board that I'm trying to pull up Aaron Rodgers. Here, I think, again, I would opt into running back with an ETN, Javante, or Josh Jacobs. And then if Mendoza or Rodgers or even Geno Smith is available on the turnaround, I'm kind of just happy to go there. The other thing is that with the way this is panning out, we could just lean real heavy running back and do double tap running back here and then say, hey, some percentage of the time when these guys don't make it near super flex, our running backs will. And that's man, I've got more Javante Williams than Josh Jacobs. I am going to take Javante Williams here. Like Josh Jacobs, he's fine. And then on the turnaround, you guys know that I have an insane amount of Cam Statabu and would consider taking him. But there's also really nice receivers to start our room. So we're going to get some range of this players, and I feel great with all of them. And with the positional value here, Malik Neighbors, Rashi Rice, Chris Olave, Cam Statabu, Colson Loveland, even Montgomery, Higgins, Flowers, Swift, it's going to be hard for me to click in Rodgers or Mendoza. And yes, I do want a third quarterback, certainly, but we did go double quarterback in the first 3 rounds so that we could say, hey, look, there's a world where, yeah, we'll wind up with a couple other quarterbacks on this team, almost certainly, but we just might be banking on the health and prosperity of these two guys and just trying to lean into that. I do. I think you want 3 quarterbacks. I don't think you only want to do 2. But if you are swinging to the upside, now a lot of the guys I liked in this range go off the board. So what's left is really like a DeAndre Swift and a Colston Loveland, and we're on the clock with that decision. Now, would we want a Mendoza or a Rodgers? Because after that, you're into like Jacoby Brissett land. Um, you know what? I think I will take an Aaron Rodgers here. I think I'm happy to have him to the upside. Again, I wanted one of these folks and thought there was a chance with the Caleb Williams drafter with one quarterback that I'd probably get one of them to fall. But after all of these folks go, happy to pick my third quarterback up there. So the Lawrence Purdy player then opts to go London Brown and then picks up Statabu and Montgomery. I really like that stacked out of 12. I think that's really well constructed. Has an elite wide receiver pair that are just going to carry the room, carry the roster. Lawrence Purdy, 2 very high end middling quarterbacks, and Cam Statabu and Montgomery, both who could be, I think Cam Statabu could be a top 10 running back this year. I think Montgomery Stilling's probably like top 12. So, just good value all the way around there. So after I take Rodgers, Henderson, Irving, Loveland, Flowers, Tootin, Swift, and Judkins go. The Allen player is of like mind of me, apparently. Besides, McBride has all quarterbacks and running backs here. Opts, I guess, with Allen and Goff, maybe they are going to go that 2 quarterback build. The Jackson Love player has Cook, Bowers, Tyron, Zay Flowers, pretty good. We're gonna Daniels, Tam Ward, Bryce Young has Amon Ra, Barkley, and Loveland, also very good. We're going to be drafting from the 80 spot, so we'll have the 80 and 89. The 80 spot could be, I don't think either of these guys would fall. We'd love Ladd, pair him up. Jadarian Price is also fine, and Terry McLaurin. This is kind of the range of guys I would really like to get at 80. Burden and Brissett. Candidly, had I known Brissett was still going to be here, well, I do think Aaron Rodgers is going to start most of the year, unless he gets injured. I like Brissett. I think Brissett's sneaky high upside quarterback who's going to have to throw a lot and did a lot of garbage time points like he did last year. And so here we could have gotten, you know, a Judkins potentially and really just had a really thick room. But I think here between McConkey and Jadarian Price, we already have a great set of running backs. I'd love to have Jadarian Price on the team, but I think pairing Justin Herbert's potential number 1 target with him here is really important from the fact that that's the position we're behind at, and we're getting that premium stat here. So I think that's the right way to go. And we have Taylor Brown Williams. So we're in good shape in the running back department. If these guys are filling in the traditional flex, and then one of these quarterbacks is making our super flex, we're in fine shape. Here at the 89 position, we'll have kind of the option of like we could lean into Tyler Warren. I don't have a ton of him this year. The other running back options are Ramondre and Chuba, which are okay. There's also Roma Dunze and Christian Watson, which I have plenty of both of them this year. Now Tyler Warren goes, so I don't think we're going to pull up a Tucker Craft. He typically goes at 101. We'll have to have him fall to us at 104, but I'm okay not getting him. Jadarian Price wheels, even though we really do need a wide receiver. I think the Hampton yeah, he's going to take Price. So here, I think we just lean into wide receiver. And the question is, do we want a Devontae Adams, a Christian Watson, a Moore, Carnell, one of these guys? Man, I don't know about Devontae Adams this year. I have a feeling he might disappear off a cliff, but we'll go ahead and grab him. He's the highest rated on the board, and I don't have a ton of them, so that's totally fine. I think he should just literally disappear this year. Um, he'll still get his red zone looks, but without those and without that volume of touchdowns and him slowing down, I could just see him like drop off a cliff this year. This could be the year, so we'll see. Fanning goes off the board. Okay, interesting. Coming back around at 104, there is an interesting swath of quarterbacks or of tight ends here in Kraft, Laporta, Pitts, I may look to take one of these guys. The other options from an ADP standpoint for us at 104 would be like, you've got maybe a Harrison Falls, Corum, Penix, Monungai, Parker, J.K. Dobbins. And I like Dobbins and some of these guys enough, DK Metcalf, but not enough more than like Alec Pierce and, Laporta and Pitts on the turnaround to say, hey, maybe if Kraft is there, we don't grab him. Then we would have Kraft a little bit behind. Chid goes, okay, yeah. So I think look to take one of the tight ends in this spot. Just now, if one of these receivers falls, that's a different story. I think this is a range of receivers that's pretty good from a running back perspective. Having these three, I'm okay punting one more time. I think in this range right here, we want a receiver and a running back, or a tight end and a running back, or maybe a wide receiver and tight end. I think we can do anything, and I think that the next range of running backs that we see in like we'll be at like the one. What are we at on the turnaround again there? 128. So we'd be in like the no, not even that range. We'd be in like this range. Hmm, interesting. Yeah, so maybe running back tight end is correct. Again, if we punt on tight end too far, it gets real nasty, real fast. Dowdle goes there. All right, so we will have our shot at Kraft if we want, or we could, I actually don't have any Kraft this year, or not much of him at all. So I think we take him here if the fan and drafter passes on him, which he does. The fan and drafter takes Sanders. It's Drake May, Geno Smith, and Sanders. He's got Smith and Jigba, Lamb, Walker, Henderson, Geno Smith. Yeah, I don't. I think after taking this start, Geno Smith and Sanders, and when you're clicking Sanders in above, you know, Kraft, Corum, J.K. Dobbins, Parker Washington, D.J. Metcalf, you misdrafted some way, right? The Lawrence Purdy player wound up with A.J. Brown and Drake London. I know that Smith and Jigba, C.D. Lamb is a better stat, but how much better is that compared to them having Lawrence and Purdy, Stadabu Montgomery versus Walker, Henderson, Drake May, and Geno Smith? I'll take this stack 10 times out of 10 out of 12 spot. Also with Warren, much more premium tight end. So yeah, I like this instruction out of 12 for sure. Coming back to us, I was going to say if Dobbins is there, we'll probably grab the running back. If he's not, I do like Kenny Gainwell. There he goes. I do like Aaron Jones. I do like Rashad White. I don't mind these receivers, but we'll be drafting again at 128, and there is some good receivers down here that I'm happy to take. So we'll grab one of these running backs, I think. We're on the clock now, so it would be DK Metcalf or a peer. We would have gotten Laporta or Kyle Pitts, but that's okay. Between these two guys, I guess I'll grab Rashad White. They're about even to me. They both have Oh man. All right, if you watch me draft, what do you know about me drafting? Once a tournament. Once a tournament, that happens. I am pontificating about what pick I'm taking, and it typically is right around this range of the draft. And I end up getting ADP. No big deal. DK Metcalf is paired with Rodgers. I was thinking about that stat as I was considering it. Right, White did look a little appealing, but I'm happy to have DK Metcalf with Aaron Rodgers. That's totally fine. And at 128, yes, the running backs will not be as good, but there's still Jordan Mason, Krusty Merritt, and Chris Rodriguez. And we'll look to grab one of those for sure, especially now that we have a third number one receiver, which I think Pittman's going to eat into DK Metcalf's already relatively light production from last year. But whatever, we have a sneaky little stack, and if these guys go nuclear once or twice during the season, both these guys will find their way into our roster occasionally. So, and again, that's what we're looking for. You start two tight ends, you start two wide receivers here. I'm also very happy to have Kraft as sort of like an anchor tight end. And even if we have to go three tight ends and grab two very, very late, I'm okay with that. Having Kraft as a premium. Let's take a look at our bye weeks. So Herbert, Shuck, and Aaron Rodgers have all different bye weeks. That's right. Jonathan Taylor, Chase Brown, Javonte Williams, all different bye weeks. That's right. McConkey, Adams, and Metcalf, all different bye weeks. That's right. And Tucker Kraft's the only tight end, so doing pretty good there. Doing pretty good there. Great wide receiver value in this range, right? You have, after I take Metcalf, White, and Jones go, then Laporta, Quentin Johnson, Kelsey, Pitts, Pierce, Sutton, Godwin, as long as Mason and Crosby Merritt. So really, really good picks there. I guess some other folks pulling up running back there, trying to catch up at the position. Yeah, a lot of folks trying to catch up the position here. All those running backs went, and I'm really not high on Tyrone Tracy. So here I guess we are grabbing another wide receiver, which is fine. And then we're definitely going to have to grab, probably want at least two more running backs, if not three, in this format. But our hand is forced. I will happily take Jaden Reed. I like, in this range, I like, you know what? We do have, oh man, you know what? Let's say Pittman. Let's set the double stack. I'm gonna pull him up quite a few picks, but what is it? You know, quite a few picks, but I'm cool with that. So now we have Metcalf and Pittman both stacked with Rodgers. Kind of sneaky there. I kind of like that. And then here at 137, we really do need to have a running back. So um, we'll have all three of these guys on the board, probably. I also have a ton of Algier because I just like him in this range. Uh, but I'm happy with one of these guys. Maybe we take Keaton Mitchell just as some nice correlation with Herbert. If he gets some of the passing work, could be good. So far, I like the construction of our team. Herbert, Shug, Rogers at quarterback, Taylor, Chase Brown, Javonte Williams at running back, McConkey, Adams, Metcalf, Pittman Jr. at wide receiver, and Tucker Kraft at tight end. For only having two shots in this tournament, I'm cool with having this as one of my entries. It's a little bit dissimilar from what I typically draft, but it is in the same style. Heavy QB running back early. Picked up some decent wide receiving value here. Got a good, nice anchor tight end in this range. And, now we're just going to look out to fill out our positional value as we go. Man, there is still some really good receivers on the board. Like, how do I click Tyrone Tracy when Jaden Reed's still on the board? Right? Yeah, I don't think I do. There's also like Mark Andrews and Kincaid and Likely, but I think I'm going to take Reed. I think now we're like having started triple running back before we touched a wide receiver. Now we have a very respectable wide receiver room where there is some weekly upside to one of these guys winding up in our flex every once in a while, our traditional flex spot, which just allows the running backs then to slide into the super flex. So like having a wide receiver room like this is actually a-okay. So let's see where we are on the turn or when we get back here. All right, Likely Andrews. No, Likely was another consideration of mine, but 152, if we look at the range of players, you've got Pacheco, Coker. I think Algier is going to probably be my priority, and then maybe Aronde Gatson falls to us on the turnaround. So we could pick up Algier here, and I don't know if Gatson makes it back to 50 to 61. But if I look across, the 12 slot only has Warren. The 11 slot has no tight ends. The 10 slot has no tight ends. And here at 9, they just double tapped Kittle and Ferguson. So I think there's actually a high likelihood that Gatson would go, depending on what other quarterbacks are on the board. Or, excuse me, tight ends are on the board. So we'll see. If we look at ADP, you still have like Parasol Dobbs. Yeah, I think that's kind of a tear break right there. But now, if we take Gatson over Algier, the next range of running backs is still fine. Coleman, Charbonnet, Sampson, Brian Robinson. So it's basically like how much do we believe in that range of players. Gatson might not make it back though. The Bowers player only has one tight end, so we'll see. Maybe we do take Gatson and just be okay with whatever running back we get on the other side. The other option is we can double tab running back here to catch us up from the three that we have, and then grab some garbage tight ends. But Gatson, I think, is a sneaky stack with with Herbert. And if we're betting this team to the Herbert upside, then Gadsden's going to have to catch some of those vacated Keenan Allen touches. So, yeah, let's see what happens here. They've got Likely and Fannin, so it's not likely. Okay, Coleman goes there. He would have been one of the guys I was looking at later. So, I'm cool with drafting Gatson. Now we will grab one more garbage tight end at the end, but now we definitely want to sort of punch a running back in here. Charbonnet, Dylan Sampson, Brian Robinson. I don't have a ton of, but it's okay. Bigsby, Sean Tucker. I like all these guys. Um, yeah, I mean we're way down the board at that point. In fact, with Sean Tucker, we may see him here. That he's right at ADP at 176 right here. So we might see Sean Tucker, but I don't know how he goes that late. When you're in this range of players and you're staring at, you know, Trey Tucker and Juwan Jennings and Denzel Boston and Jalen McMillan, and I know you can be high on any of these guys. There's also just a proven, even if he is a tertiary running back asset at this point behind Gainwell and Irving. Just a guy who shows that he punches touchdowns in from short yardage situations. I want him randomly on my bench in my Superflex league. Like, show up in my Superflex twice in the year. Show up in my traditional flex once this year, and I'm happy. You did your job from this ADP. So, okay, we're just gonna take Dylan Sampson though. We'll start with him. Again, we should get Tucker on. Um, we may get Tucker at cost here, right at ADP. So the 12 slot after getting Lawrence Purdy, London, Brown, Stadabu, Montgomery, Warren, then grabs Tua, Tyson, Parker, Washington, Woody Marks, Golden, Higgins, and Spears. Pretty good stack. Chase. Okay, so let's see how the Chase player did because again, this is very difficult to pull off. Chase got then went Caleb Williams, Derrick Henry, Achan, Rice, Olave winds up with Brissett. So has a stacked wide receiver, but remember, you only start two. So this gentleman's saying, hey, one of these guys is going to go in my traditional flex pretty much every week. Grabs Brissett, Adunze, Harrison, Dobbins, Wilson, gets Deshaun Watson. Did not get Casey Concepcion, though. Interesting. Hmm. Concepcion goes down here. Typically, I like to try to stack Watson and Concepcion if I'm going to do that. It's a sneaky little batch stack you can get. But yeah, so they're so far behind at running back, and then at this point, when you come back after you do Rice, Olave, and taking Chase in the first round, and you do a Dunze and Harrison before you pick up a Dobbins, you're saying not only is receiver going to go in your traditional flex, you're looking for one of these receivers to wind up in your super flex. And I just don't think you want to be betting week to week basis on a receiver winding up in Superflex, even in a half point PPR format, over a quarterback, even a third pick quarterback like Aaron Rodgers. But that's why we draft these. That is why we draft these. Okay, it looks like Sean Tucker may make it back to us. If not, I'll grab Alvin tomorrow. I'm happy. Hawkinson and Barner could make a really nice third tight end, but I'm not going to prioritize either one of them there. I would like to snag another running back, and we'll get one of these guys now, and so I'm happy with that. And then if Hawk or Barner or Hell was to make it back to us, maybe we take them. Remember, we did great work with our wide receiver room here to catch it up to 5. So I think we are on the clock now. Yep, and we will take Sean Tucker. I don't have a ton of Kamara. I don't know that Kamara is much different than Tucker. How much will be involved with ETN going there? Maybe it will be a shared backfield, and Kamara is a super valuable asset down here. That's fine. I have no priority for what we pick up next. There is a Fryermuth down here that we might probably want to remind ourselves of, although I don't think we're on ADP for him. Yeah, we're going to be kind of past it at 201 here, but I don't think I want to pull him up that far. Or sorry, 200. I don't think I want to pull him up that far here. I think after getting Gatson and Kraft, we can deprioritize and continue to pull out positional advantage here. And now having 5 running backs and 5 wide receivers, I'm feeling pretty balanced and in pretty good shape. If Alvin Kamara falls here, I don't have him. He does right there. I was going to say, I don't have him in a ton of leagues. I'll take him. So do we want Hawkinson, Tucker, Kate Otten, Fryermuth, Tesla, Antonio Williams, You know what? Let's grab Fryermuth. I have a ton of them. You know what? Actually, let's diversify. I was going to say he stats with. That's fine. I was going to go for Hawkinson. I was going to say he stats with Aaron Rodgers, but we do have Metcalf and Pittman. We don't also need to have Fryermuth. And even if Fryermuth is getting that touchdown value that he could pop off with this year and just catch 3 or 4 or 5 or 7 touchdowns, whatever would be crazy for him, we'll be getting those points out of Rodgers. So I'm totally cool with. I actually wanted to diversify and take Hawkinson there, so worked out. All right, so we're done at tight end. We're done at quarterback. We have 5 receivers and 5 running backs, and we have 4 picks left. So we can go 2-2. That's totally fine. Just go with a 3-7-7-3 build. And if there's insane positional value in one direction or the other, I'm okay kind of going unbalanced here, but I'm down for a 3-7-7-3. You do have 20 draft slots in these super flexes, so that's pretty cool. We will be drafting from the 200 ADP. So if Singleton falls, we'll take him, but he probably won't. Um, I guess passing Firemouth is cool because we can pick up Bernard and kind of not just be completely overweight, but Bernard goes there. That's fine. Um, again, uh, we're off of tight end, so we don't need either of these guys. Jaden Bloom, Davian Wicks is somebody else I'm interested in this range. Yeah, fine. Gordon James on the turnaround potentially. I have a lot of Ted Hurst. I really don't even. Okay, so there you go. We'll take. I guess who's top? I'm not going to take Debo Samuel. I'll take Antonio Williams. That's fine. And then maybe we'll grab Jordan James here on the turnaround. He's 214. We should be right there. 209, a little before. That's fine. And then we'll do it one more time, and the draft will be over. So right now we're at Herbert, Chud, and Rogers. At quarterback, Taylor, Brown, Williams, Sampson, Tucker. At running back, Ladd, Devontae, Metcalf, Pittman, Reed, and Williams. We got Pittman and Metcalf staffed with Rogers, McCarthy staffed with Herbert, and then Kraft, Gatson, and Hawkinson. Gatson is staffed with Herbert again. So Jordan James is of the most interest to me, I think, here. Kamoni Vidal, I guess, at the very end of the draft. Jordan James goes there. Okay. Um, totally fine. Totally fine. Kamoni Vidal is we won't pull him up. I am interested in Wicks. So if Wicks comes down here, I guess we just take him, and then we'll be on 7 receivers and just finish up running back, running back. I don't have a ton of Mike Washington. I'm not super in for him this year. It's going to be hard enough for Genti, to be honest with you. And so beyond that, yeah, all these guys are just whatever down here. There's not too much running back value where I'm like, oh, you got to have one of these guys. I think they're kind of all the same. And that tends to be true for a lot of the back ends of these drafts. So we're on the clock. I think I'm just going to click in Wicks, and then we're done at wide receiver now. And we just need 2 more running backs. I like Kamoni Vidal. If he makes it, it's fine. Claiborne, I suppose, is okay. Kaleon Black, I suppose, is okay. I don't want P. Ryan. I don't have a ton of P. Ryan, though. And we do have, actually, let me think about this. Don't we have Chase? So I don't think that handcuffing in a format like this is like necessarily the right move. But when you're looking at potentially drafting a last round handcuff, and P. Ryan is serviceable, and maybe there are some weeks where he gets the touchdown or two and winds up where, you know, the Browns go off, they pull Brown, and not the Browns, excuse me, the Bengals go off, they pull Brown, P. Ryan gets another couple. That could happen. So I guess maybe we do want to look Samaje P. Ryan here at the last pick. I could see that happening, like way down here, right on ADP too, or maybe just yeah, we'll see. If we don't, there's like James Conner, I suppose. Put him down there. Um, Is not super interesting, although same deal. We have Taylor. If Taylor were to get hurt, getting could see some meaningful work this year. So yeah, we'll do. I think we'll get one of our handcuffs. I'm kind of happy to have either of them. Kimoni Vidal was the only one of this range of guys I would prioritize over taking my handcuffs. So we'll just go ahead and take, even if we can get both these guys, we'll just take them. I don't think there's really a reason not to, especially considering that with Taylor, Brown, Williams, Sampson, and Tucker, we're already set up pretty nicely, and don't really need these guys. But since we have extra draft slots, and I think 7 wide receivers is plenty in a start 2 wide receiver format, especially when we have McConkey, Adams, and Metcalf, and Pittman and Reed, we're in good shape. We're in really good shape. So we're on the board here in a couple of picks. Feeling pretty good about it. Feeling pretty good about it. Burks and Mooney go off. McCarthy goes to the Mendoza Love Jackson player. That's cool. Yeah, we could grab a fourth QB, but I don't. When you look at these QBs, it's like okay, Justin Fields maybe, Anthony Richardson potentially, Winston. No, I don't want any of these guys. I mean Winston. If there's an argument for any of them, there's an argument for Jameis Winston. That's for sure. Oh man, did I time out? Oh no, I got him perfect. I was about to say. Perfect timing. That would have been twice. That won't work. I guess it did happen with Hutchinson, but I decided to take Hutchinson at top ADP. So it's hard to talk through thinking and do this while you're doing. Whatever. Richardson goes off there with back. So they went Hurts Prescott. They decided to say, hey, we're going to shoot our shot with these guys. They got Jefferson, Hampton, Jacobs, Neighbors, Burden, Price, Corum. I like this team. I like this team. I wish they were a little stronger at running back, but Price shores that up. Lemon. They got Lemon stacked with Hurts. Um, oh wow, really? I'm shocked that Giddens went down here. All right, I guess we're taking Kaylee on Black. LaQuint Allen, Emmanuel Wilson, Jalen Wright. Yeah, no, that's fine. It's fine. I'll take Kaylee on Black. That's totally cool with me. Doesn't really matter. These guys have a meaningful impact. Then we're in trouble. We are in trouble. So snap Black off there. That's great. Yeah, Hertz stacked with Lemon later is pretty good. Prescott is naked. Didn't pick up. Oh no, did grab Ferd here, so that's pretty cool. And did grab Flournoy. Excuse me. Yeah, pretty good team there. All right, so our final team, and remember, this is you only get 2 shots, which I'm gonna do the next shot right after this. Let's just do it. Herbert, Chud, Rogers. Love that combo. Uh, Taylor, Brown, Williams, Sampson, Tucker, P. Ryan. Happy with this backfield. Very happy with the backfield. McConkey, Adams, Metcalf, Pittman, Reed, Williams, Wicks. Happy with this wide receiver room, especially considering we didn't touch wide receiver till round 7. It's freaking great. And then Kraft, Gatson, Hawkinson. All good. So thank you guys for tuning in. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like and subscribe button. I appreciate it, and I'll see you guys in the next one.